Okay, welcome everybody to our first Prospective Student Program of the year. My name is Andrew Abad. I am the Assistant Director of Admissions for the MSU Honors College. We are so excited to begin our recruitment cycle this year, to tell you more about the MSU Honors College, to talk to you about our admissions process, and most importantly, to answer any questions that you might have about MSU, the Honors College, and anything in between. This will be a pretty quick overview, probably about 10 to 15 minutes, and then I'll go ahead and let our current students who are here on the call introduce themselves, and we will utilize the Q&A function. So if you do have a question as I'm going through the slides, please go ahead and use that Q&A function to submit, but we will go ahead and use the questions after the presentation is over. So to get started, I do want to share just a few quick facts about the Honors College. We are a smaller part of Michigan State. I think it's important to say that right off the bat. We have about 50,000 students at Michigan State. If you look at just our undergraduate population, it's about 40,000. That makes us one of the largest universities in the country. By undergraduate enrollment, I think we rank 8th, which is pretty crazy. But if you look at the Honors College, it is about 4,500 students this fall. So we are more or less 10% of the university population. It does vary from year to year, but we do not have any preference for a student's major. There are over 200 different majors that you can choose from at Michigan State. We have 3 residential colleges where we have some pretty strong overlap between. You may have heard of Lyman Briggs or James Madison College or ARCA, the Residential College of Arts and Humanities. Most of our students that come in through our high school process, which is kind of what we're talking about today, those students are going to be bringing in some sort of college credit, advanced placement, international baccalaureate, dual enrollment. We do have a pretty diverse group of students. About 30% are either from out of state or from outside of the US. That is a more diverse number than MSU overall. And Honors College students are typically doing pretty well in their classes. They have an average GPA of about a 3.8. So as I mentioned, you can choose from any academic program as an Honors College student. And what we really try and do in terms of the benefit of the Honors College is to provide high-achieving students on campus with an extra degree of freedom and flexibility. When you come into college, whether it's at MSU or somewhere else, you'll have the first and second year requirements that are pretty standard from institution to institution. Here at MSU, we call them integrative studies. You'll have to take an English and a math and a humanities class and social science and hard sciences. You'll have academic advisor within your college. So if you're an engineer or you're in business, you'll have an advisor who can help you sort of understand those requirements. But students in the Honors College can do a little bit, I would say, approach things a little bit differently because we waive prerequisites, because we allow students to take a wider variety of courses. So some of our students will take classes that normally might not count towards those integrative studies requirements, and our advisors in the Honors College actually have the ability to approve course substitutions and allow those classes to still count. We ask students to take honors classes while they're at MSU if they're an Honors College student. I think that kind of goes without saying, but maybe something you didn't know is that we have a lot of different options in terms of what that looks like. So we use this umbrella term called honors experiences, and there are probably 5 or 6 different ways that you can have an honors experience. The most common are courses that we offer that are honors designated. So there are classes, mostly introductory courses, foundational courses, and a lot of different majors and disciplines, about 175 different versions of classes that are very similar to AP or IB, intro to calculus, intro to chemistry, intro to physics. We will offer an honors version of those classes that are a bit accelerated, that are taught by a great faculty member, that count in the exact same way that the non-honors class would count for your major, minor, or integrative studies requirement. It's just a little bit extra in terms of what you do to add that honors piece. So it will be a little bit more of a faster pace. You will probably do a little bit more work in those classes, but all things being equal, the class counts the same. We do have some in-house honors seminar courses, which are very, very small comparatively to the size of those large foundational classes. Those are kind of in-house, taught by faculty that we're affiliated with. Some of our students will do a senior project if they end up doing research with faculty. About 70% of students in the Honors College do research at some point. So if it ends up being a senior project, that can count for honors credit. but most of our students do either an honors option or they might even take a graduate level class. The honors option is where you take a regular MSU course and do a little bit of extra work in that class to add an honors component. So in that way, most classes at MSU can technically be honors. In this way, it also allows students to really personalize and individualize what they do for honors credit on our campus. So it's not just that they have to take a certain number of courses. They get to choose what they are. We don't have any rules in terms of you have to take a certain seminar or it has to be so many classes within your major or anything like that. The only rule that we have is that we want you to take at least 3 of these honors experiences by the end of your 4th semester, which is sophomore year, and 8 by the time that you graduate. So if you break this down, it's about 1 honors class each semester, although most students don't really do it that way. For the graduate courses, we do allow students to take up to 9 hours of graduate study, that's 3 classes typically, and still pay the undergraduate rate. So for students that are looking for an academic challenge, for rigor here at MSU, that's a fantastic opportunity. I do want to talk briefly about some of the high impact experiences that our students are very involved in. I think the best descriptor of an honor student, to be honest with you, is that they're very involved both in their high schools as seniors and juniors, but certainly at MSU. As I mentioned, a lot of our students are involved in research, and I really think this is one of the most important things when you look at the type of university that Michigan State is. We're a large flagship research institution, and what I mean by that is when our faculty get hired at Michigan State, they're not just teaching classes, they have to publish, they have to produce research, and our undergraduate students, specifically high-achieving students in the Honors College, are very, very involved in that process. So if you come to MSU as a high-achieving student, you have the opportunity to be involved in research with faculty as early as your first week on campus. We have a great program called the Professorial Assistantship, where about 200 incoming students each year get paid by the Honors College to do research. We also offer very small classes called Honors Research Seminars that are taught on a wide variety of topics every year, where you're working with a small group of students under the direction of a faculty member to do research on a particular topic. And all of those students doing research in that program will present research at the end of the year, which is very, very exciting. We have a great opportunity for students to present research on campus called UREF, the Undergraduate Research and Arts Forum. We also have what's called our Education Abroad program, and you may have heard of it as Study Abroad. Some of our students do research abroad, or they work abroad, or they do service abroad. So we kind of really put it under a larger umbrella. But Michigan State is ranked #1 among public universities in the United States for our programs. We have over 300 different programs. We can send students to over 60 countries. If you are a senior right now, the earliest that you can go abroad is actually next summer, even before you move into Michigan State. We have a great program called First Year Seminar Abroad, where you can be in a number of countries, probably 6 or 7 different countries, for about 2 to 3 weeks before you move in August. So that's a great opportunity. We give out scholarships in the Honors College, about $70,000 in scholarships each year to support honor students going abroad. So for some of our students, what that looks like is they go abroad 2, 3, 4 times before they graduate. If you are taking a language class right now and you would like to continue your education of a language in college, I cannot recommend Education Abroad enough. I do want to talk briefly about community engagement. Again, I mentioned honor students are so involved on our campus. We have over 1,000 student organizations. There are 12 registered student orgs just within the Honors College. But aside from just being involved in social clubs or pre-professional organizations, we have a lot of students that are active in our service community. We have 2 service organizations in honors. The picture that you see here on this slide is a group of students that actually moved onto campus early and participated in a program called HC Impact. For those of you that are seniors, you can apply for this next spring, but this is a fantastic opportunity to get to know the city of Lansing and learn a little bit more about what our service needs are and what those big issues are. And most of the students who complete this program will end up taking a class together for honors credit in the first semester. But there are so many ways to give back and so many ways to get involved in our community, and our honor students are among the most involved on our campus. You can see here the full list of honor student orgs. I want to direct your attention to the middle of that list of bullet points, the group H star. It stands for Honor Students Actively Recruiting. So all of our current honor students here tonight are members of that organization. We have a mental health collaborative. We have a multicultural organization called Mosaic. We have a number of affinity groups. We even have a group that advises our dean on a whole host of issues and different initiatives that we're planning in the Honors College. But there are a number of social events that take place on campus as well. And the way that we do it is we keep a very large email list of all students in the Honors College. And every week you can expect an email from us with a variety of different opportunities, both internal to the Honors College and across our campus community as well. So there's no shortage of things to get involved in. We hope that you'll be involved with us here in the Honors College, but even if not, there's so much to do on campus, and we want to make sure that you have that balance. You're not just in class, you're not just studying, you're out in the community, you're out on campus, you're participating in all facets of the campus experience. Housing is another really important way to do that. Students at MSU are required to live on campus for 2 years, so freshman and sophomore year. You can see these color-coded areas on this map. These correspond to what we call our neighborhoods at Michigan State. So we have 27 residence halls in total. That's quite a large amount. And they are really broken down into clusters. So in each of these neighborhoods, there are about 5 or 6 different residence halls. You can see in the bubbles, each of the halls that are listed in there are where we have honors housing. So honors housing is not required. It is optional. But students coming into campus, especially in that first year, may live in one of these communities, any of our 3 residential colleges. We have an engineering program where all the first-year engineering students live together. That's called CORE. We also have a residential business community. We have honors tie-ins with each of those groups. So if you are an incoming engineer and you're in the Honors College, we have 2 honors floors for incoming engineers. If you're a member of Lyman Briggs College and you have to live in Holmes Hall, we have 2 honors floors there as well. So we want to make sure that you have the chance to live with other like-minded students. If you do live on an honors floor, your roommate will also be in the Honors College. So that's another benefit of finding that community on our campus. Let's talk about admission. How do you get into the Honors College? There are 3 ways technically for admission into the Honors College. The first is what I will talk about mostly on the next slide, which is our invitation-only process once you apply to Michigan State as a high school senior. Again, this is the process that I manage. Typically, students that are admitted to Michigan State can expect to receive an invitation 6 to 8 weeks afterward. We also consider students that are relatively close to the criteria. We may ask for some senior grades. But if you don't hear from us, you are welcome to send additional information for review as well. That process typically happens in the spring once first semester grades come out. We also have another program that happens in the spring called the Academic Scholars Program, where we invite about 200 students each year to join us who are either first-generation students or Pell eligible students. So that is kind of under the Honors College umbrella, but it is a pathway program into the Honors College. It's a little bit different in terms of the first year and the activities that they do. And lastly, we have a program called Campus Admissions, where students that are not invited to join us in the first year, or excuse me, as high school students, can apply after the first year. Typically, students are invited to apply with above a 3.7 GPA after the first semester. So there's more information on our website about that, but typically those applications are due in January, and they'll select that next group of students each February. Again, going back to the high school process, you can see on the right-hand side of the slide just a quick process map of what your senior year will look like. I hope that all of you on this call have done the first 2 bubbles, which is apply to MSU in the early fall, and obviously the application opening in August. Some of you, from what I understand, may already have heard that you have been accepted to Michigan State. So if you have heard already, congratulations. I know that those decisions are just now, this week, starting to be released. And that means we're going to start reading files likely tomorrow. So we're very excited to start inviting students to Honors College, probably as early as next week, but going all the way through the fall and the spring as well. Once you're invited to Honors College, you do have until May 1st to accept that invitation on your portal. It's non-binding. But in terms of what we're looking for, how do we decide who gets invited to the Honors College? You can see our profile here on the left-hand side of the slide. We're looking for good grades, typically a GPA or a class rank that places you around the top 5% of your class. We're also looking for a number of rigorous classes, and we define rigor as something that might get you college credit. So whether that's AP, IB, dual enrollment, we are always looking at this rigor within the context of your school. So if you're at a school where they don't offer any of these classes, don't worry. We'll know that when we review you, but we are looking for a high number of those rigorous courses in most cases. We do take a holistic review at all applications. We're looking at your essay, we're looking at your extracurriculars, your community service. That is absolutely a part of our process. But one thing that doesn't have to be part of our process are test scores. So the ACT and SAT are not required for admission to Michigan State University. We've been test optional since 2020. We will continue to be test optional all the way until 2026. So students in the Honors College who do provide scores, we do use them. Our averages are around a 1450 and a 32. What I recommend is that if you're looking to get into the Honors College, your SAT score should be at least about a 1400, and your ACT score, I would say at least a 31. If you have test scores that are lower than that, I would strongly consider applying test optional, because there are cases where students who have the grades and have the rigor, but unfortunately don't have a high enough test score, may not hear from us. So I want to make sure everybody on this call has the best chance of being invited to Honors College. So know that you can sort of make that decision when you apply to Michigan State on whether or not you want your test scores to be considered. We do have scholarships that are available for a select number of Honors College invitees. I want to be very clear in saying not everybody who's invited to Honors does receive a merit scholarship from us, but you may receive merit awards from the Office of Admissions as well. But we have one scholarship for in-state students. It's about the top 25% of the invited students from in-state. It's a $5,000 per year award, renewable for 4 years. For our out-of-state students, we have 2 scholarships because the cost of attendance is higher. The Honors College Distinction Scholarship is our base level. That's about $5,000 a year as well. And then again, about 25% of our top out-of-state invitees will receive the Honors Excellence Scholarship. That's a $13,000 a year award. Typically, students that are receiving state or excellence, that top level, again, around the top quarter of Honors College invitees, will be considered for the professorial assistantship. And that is where we pay you about $4,000 a year in your first and second year to do research with a faculty member in an area of your choice. So the way that that works is after May 1, we will email a survey to all of our incoming PAs, and you will tell us what area or discipline you would like to do research in, and we will pair you with a faculty member. This is the really important part. I would say where we are in the calendar, being in mid-October, this is probably the most important piece of information. All of our students invited to the Honors College in the fall are going to be invited to join what's called the Alumni Distinguished Scholarship Competition. This is how we determine at Michigan State who gets our full rides and our full tuition scholarships and some other awards. You do have to compete, so there's a short answer, a few short answer questions you would answer before you arrive on campus. It's a one-day on-campus program. There's an option at the end of January and one at the beginning of February. You'll choose one of the two. And that would be where you would take a test on campus and learn a lot more about being an MSU Spartan. A lot of different opportunities for you to learn about academics and Honors College, the PA if you're offered one of those. It's really our best visit of the school year. But to be eligible to compete at ADS, you have to be invited to Honors College in the fall. So if you were not quite sure when you were going to submit your application, maybe it's most of the way done, this is my strongest recommendation to really apply no later than November 1st, because we want to make sure not only are you admitted to Michigan State, but then also reviewed for Honors College before we start sending those invitations in early December. Once you are in the Honors College, we do have current student scholarships that you can apply for every year. Typically, these awards are pretty general, but some might be related to certain programs. We do support, as I mentioned earlier, education abroad and undergraduate research. And current students in the Honors College are eligible to apply for these awards every spring. So you can fill out an application every year. that's pretty much it for our slides. Again, my name is Andrew Abed. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions. We have a 3-person admissions team. Elisa Garcia is our admissions associate. Dr. Beth German is our assistant dean. She leads our team. You can get in contact with us at any time if you want to take a screenshot or a picture of this slide. All of our contact information is on there. It's also on our website. And if you email honors@msu.edu, that's our main inbox for all admissions questions. It goes directly to me. I check it every morning. So if you do have any questions throughout the college search process, please do stay connected with us. We would love to hear from you. We are here for you. That is, I think, the most important thing to know. It is our job to help navigate you through this process as you consider Michigan State and the Honors College. We want to make this easier for you if we can. So please do stay connected with us and let us know what questions you have. At this point, I am going to pause briefly and make sure that I'm looking at our list of attendees to make sure I didn't miss any students. I don't believe I did. So I think everybody's here. Let me go ahead and I'm just going to add all of you to this spotlight. Give me just a minute. Is that everybody or did I miss somebody? I think we're good. All right. I'm going to pick on Eli first. Eli, if you wouldn't mind starting us off with introductions, and then we'll go through everybody, and then we'll start with the questions.
Sounds good. Thank you, Andrew. Hello, everyone. My name is Eli Duguid. I'm a third-year student studying economics with minors in business and the leadership of organizations. I'm from Kalamazoo, Michigan. Apart from H-Star, I'm also a member of the Social Science Scholars Program. I do on-campus research in Broad as a research assistant in management, and I also serve as an undergraduate learning assistant for our introductory macroeconomics courses. Do you want me to pass it off to someone else or just?
That would be great if you don't mind, just because I don't know the order of everybody.
Okay, I'll pass it off to Carol.
Hi, my name is Carol. I'm a psychology and criminal justice double major. I'm from Grapevine, Texas, which is a little outside Dallas. I'm a first year, and apart from H-Star, I have a professorial assistantship with BERT Labs. I'm also in the marching band, specifically the color guard, and I'm in the psychology club. And I can pass it off to Kayla.
Okay, thanks, Carol. Hi, everyone. I'm Kayla. I'm a junior here at Michigan State. I'm a zoology major with a concentration in animal behavior and neurobiology, as well as 2 minors in documentary production and Spanish. I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois. I lived my whole life there up until 2 summers ago when I moved to Atlanta, so a big shift. But yeah, I'm from both places, I would say. Apart from H-Star, I am involved with Spartan Vision, which is the student production team that works on the video board shows and the Big Ten Student U productions for all of MSU's sporting events around campus. I'm also part of Zeta Theta Omega, which is a pre-professional zoology co-ed fraternity. As well as I had a PA for my first 2 years of college, and I am continuing the research I did as a PA with the whole camp lab this year. So I'm studying the social context of vocalizations in spotted hyenas. And I will pass it off to Rhea.
Thanks, Kayla. Hi, everyone. My name is Rhea. I'm a human bio major with a minor in bioethics. I'm a third-year student in Lyman Briggs as well as the Honors College. Apart from H-Star, I'm also on board for FGHA, which is another one of our honors orgs. It stands for First Gen Honors Association. I'm also involved with some clubs on campus, like Honors Times 2. Let's see what else. CERT MSU, Cure Found. And yeah, I'm also part of the Osteopathic Medical Scholars Program. Yeah. I'm from Troy, Michigan, too. And I'll pass it to Samuel.
Great. All right, hi folks. My name's Sam. I'm originally from Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I'm a third-year electrical engineer with minors in energy through the College of Engineering, entrepreneurship and innovation through the Broad Business College, and science, technology, environment, and public policy through James Madison. On campus, I've been involved with undergraduate research, the Honors College Activity Board, the MSU Solar Racing Team, and the Burgess Entrepreneurship Institute. I think it's just Allison left, right?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Allison. I'm originally from Mason, Michigan, which is pretty close to campus. I'm majoring in neuroscience and minoring in French. Some other things that I do aside from school are I work at Origami, which is pretty close to campus. And I'm also part of the University Activities Board, the Sexual Assault and Crisis Intervention Line, also known as SASSY. And I did HC Impact, which I really enjoyed. And I'm also part of French Club.
We have nods from the other impactors too. I think Eli and Sam both participated in Impact a couple times now as students and then mentors as well. We have 3 questions through the Q&A, which I honestly expected a few more, but we'll get started with these, and I hope that those of you who do have questions will start to feed them to us through the Q&A function. The first question I want to address just right off the bat, because this is important. Christopher said, I just got accepted to MSU yesterday, but I didn't get into the Honors College. I've heard of other students that got their acceptance and found out they got into Honors College. Is there a way for me to somehow apply or qualify? I do not know who you know that got into the Honors College, because we haven't invited anybody except folks that we've talked to in person, which is a very small number of folks at their school. But those haven't even been put into our system yet. So I will tell you, we're going to start reviewing students tomorrow. My sense is that those first students will be notified tomorrow, but there have been no students as of today at 8:29 p.m. who have officially actually been invited to Honors College so far. So want to go ahead and say that first. That's very important. I do want to pass this question around because I feel like this is a good point to expand upon some of the social events that we do on campus. So the question is, what's the Honors College Ball? But I'm going to expand this a little bit. Let's talk about the HC Ball, but maybe let's talk about some of our other social programs that you've remembered, or maybe a favorite social program in your time in the Honors College, whether it was done by a student org or another part of Honors. Let's start there.
I think I'm going to jump on that one pretty quick as on account of my participation with the activity board. So the Honors College Ball is an event put on by the Honors College Activity Board every early spring semester, I believe. And it is a super fun event. It is open to all. And so I've often just brought some of my friends along with me to the event. And they have a venue on campus. Student organizations have pretty easy access to different locations to hold different events. And so it changes a little bit from year to year, but we had a really good one the past 2 years, one at the Union, and then one at sort of the atrium of one of our athletic buildings, I believe. And great time. It's a dance fairly similar to a high school dance, in my opinion. And since it's the Honors College, primarily, you tend to know a lot of people there. And so it feels even more like a high school dance because you got fairly close connections. It's not just showing up and not having any idea of anyone else except the people you came with. And so I recommend that. I'll highlight a few other of my favorite HCAB events. We do a murder mystery every year. We do a Halloween party, and then some like watch party, tailgate sort of events for some of the sporting events. If other club participants who have events want to talk up, that's great.
Yeah, I can also talk a little bit about my experience because I'm part of the University Activities Board, which is separate from the Honors College University Activities Board. We do a lot of events as well, and it's funded by the university, so there's a lot of free stuff usually too, which is nice. One of my favorite things that we've done this year so far is that there was like a hypnotist that came, and it was like a drag hypnotist, so that was really cool. We've also done like where Zeke comes and you can take a picture with Zeke and make like a Zeke stuffed animal, which if you don't know who Zeke is, he's our dog mascot, which is so cute. And then, yeah, there's just always little fun pop-ups and different things, which are really fun, different movie nights around campus. So there's so many different events you can go to.
Anyone else on honors college events before we move on? Right. Well, we do have a few more questions. What if your school doesn't rank, or what if your high school is particularly competitive? Can the SAT and other criteria help? I will be happy to talk more about this. If your school doesn't rank, that's fine. We're going to be looking at your transcript either way. The language that we like to use is that we're looking for a preponderance of A's, meaning a lot more A's than B's typically on your high school transcript. So if you have mostly A's, you're going to be just fine in terms of the grades that you need for honors college. If your high school is competitive, we understand that. We take that into account. Typically, we know at least most of the high schools in our region that are pretty competitive. But like in Carol's case in Texas, like we know that schools in Texas are very competitive. Like we can put two and two together, I think, enough for that. But if for some reason you don't hear from us and it's been 6 to 8 weeks, email us. And we'll be happy to take a closer look and advise you then sort of what those next steps are. But I will tell you that whether you choose to submit a test score or not, that's just one more data point that you can add into that review process. So if you apply test optional, again, we're not even going to consider it. Even if you've already sent your score to Michigan State, we don't need it. It's just we will not use that as part of our review. But if you do send it, we do take a look at it. But for the most part, it's not going to be as important as your grades or the rigor of your courses. Another question, which I can answer very quickly, is if you know the dates of the ADS competition, can you please share them now? I do, and I can. They are Friday, January 26th. That's ADS number 1. And then Friday, February 2nd is going to be ADS number 2. And again, you pick one of these 2 dates to come to campus. If you are an out-of-state student, which I know that some of you are, plan to travel to campus sometime on Thursday afternoon. And I say that because we typically hold a dinner for our small number of out-of-state attendees. We'd love to interact with you. That's just something we do in the Honors College, even though the larger ADS event is between honors and admissions. So please, again, plan to be with us for that. But the program itself is a full day on those Fridays, typically, 7:30 in the morning, saying that we're up and ready to go, and then it goes all the way until about 4:30, 5 o'clock. So it's going to be a great day on campus. If you're an in-state student and you want to drive the night before and stay the night, that might be a good thing too, just considering how early we get started. But yes, we know the dates well in advance. Happy to share those. Let me pass this question to our whole panel. Have any of you participated in study abroad so far? And for those of you that have, can you talk about where you went and what you did and how that was?
Yeah, I can jump on this. So I actually meant to mention this in my introduction, but yeah, I went abroad last semester. It was a little bit unorthodox. It wasn't a pre-established program through MSU, but I actually went abroad with doing research with the Whole Camp Lab, which I'm continuing to do now, like I mentioned. And I stayed at a bush camp, basically in the middle of the Masai Mara in Kenya. And I was doing in the field research for the entire spring semester on the behavioral ecology of spotted hyenas. So going out twice a day for about 3 hours each session and, finding the hyenas, observing their behavior, coming back to camp, writing up our notes, running data analyses, taking samples in the field and running analyses on those, and just kind of all the sort of typical fieldwork stuff is kind of stuff that I was responsible for. So that is something that I will say that kind of came along just based on what I had been doing. So with my research mentor, I expressed interest in getting more involved with actual hands-on animal behavior research. And to be fair, I thought I was getting myself into reviewing videos of hyena behavior. I did not think I would get invited to go to her, field camp in the Masai Mara. But actually, the Honors College was super, super helpful in kind of making that journey possible for me, because I had to, kind of pause my classes and figure out a lot of logistical things that, the Honors College actually helped me make that journey possible. So be happy to answer any questions about that as well.
I also went on a study abroad. This would have been the summer of 2022 after my first year here. I went on more of a traditional study abroad, so it was summer based. It was sponsored through the Social Science Scholars Program, which I'm also a part of. And we spent 3 weeks in the United Kingdom, started in London, spent a week there, spent a week in Oxford, staying at one of the dorms at the University of Oxford. And then we went up northwest to the northwest corner of England to the Lake District, kind of more of a rural part of England, but it was really a lot of fun going there. So I couldn't kind of encourage you enough to explore study abroad opportunities here. They're so much fun. It gives you so much more kind of experience that you can't get within a classroom setting. And even like I did an internship this summer, and speaking with people who also did study abroads kind of provided me with, a common talking point that I never would have really expected. So I'd highly encourage all of you to at least explore the Michigan State's study abroad programs, whether they be, a few weeks long, an entire semester. We're across, I think, all 7 continents at this point. I know we have one in Antarctica. I had a friend do that. So take advantage of this opportunity. Even if you don't attend Michigan State, definitely look into some study abroad programs.
I will say it is my biggest regret is not going abroad when I had the chance. I've been traveling, as I mentioned, most of the last month. And just a couple weeks ago, I happened to be on campus on a Thursday. I think it was 2 weeks ago today. They had the study abroad fair, which they hold every year in our basketball arena, the Breslin Center. And the entire concourse of the arena was filled with tables staffed by students and staff and faculty who have gone on programs, who organize programs. It was amazing to see just how many places we went and how many cool things that you can do. I talked to some business students who were in Australia, who only had classes on Mondays and Tuesdays and got to go to the beach all the time. I talked to students who were going to other universities, whether they be in Italy or in other countries. We have exchange programs with certain universities where we can send you. There are also programs that are, again, very specific, like Kayla's, to a program. We had a couple students in the Honors College just last year take a class that was basically on the Mediterranean diet. They were nutrition majors, and they got to go to Florence and Rome and Paris and eat for like 3 weeks and learn about the diet, which is a very cool thing, right? They don't have to be necessarily super academic. But as Eli mentioned, we have a full menu of options of all shapes and sizes. And again, every place that you can pretty much think of, we can send you to. So again, highly recommend pursuing education abroad as a student here at Michigan State. The next question I will answer very briefly, which is, when should we expect to receive a financial aid offer after our application acceptance? So this is kind of a tricky year for the FAFSA. Normally, and I think all the students here on the panel probably submitted their FAFSA in October, our current senior class will not be doing that because it's not ready yet. They are in the process of updating the FAFSA. What we have heard is that December will be the time when it opens. If the government shuts down, which it probably won't, but maybe in November it will, that may be delayed. But our understanding is that the FAFSA will open in December. You will fill it out. Probably towards the end of March, you will receive the financial aid award. Michigan State offers aid to about 89% of the students admitted to the university each year. That total amount of aid exceeds $2 billion a year. So we try and make MSU affordable. Financial aid is a great way to supplement, again, any potential merit aid scholarships or other scholarships you might have. So we certainly recommend that as well. Thank you for that question. Here's just a quick addition to the study abroad question. Traditionally, engineering students have a hard time studying abroad. Do you have programs for various engineering specialties? We do. The reason why I think engineering students have a hard time is because they have a very structured major, which really sort of dictates what they take and when. And sometimes in their summers, they're doing co-ops, which are very well paid, or internships, which are very well paid. So I think the opportunity cost for going abroad is a little bit different for an engineering student. Sam is nodding, so I'm assuming this is correct. But there are some very specific study abroad programs, and you can find them on the Education Abroad website or on the engineering website. I would point you to either. But Sam, did you have anything to add there?
I would. So I actually planned on doing a study abroad the summer after my freshman year. I was sort of it fell through due to logistics issues with COVID. It was going to be to Iceland, and they were very, very cautious, even when I was after my freshman year, and so it fell through. But if you're an engineering student interested in study abroad, highly encourage you to look into doing study abroad after your first year, in my opinion, in something completely unrelated to engineering. Get one of your integrated studies substitutions done. My program was going to be on geology, would have counted for one of my substitutions and for a class of my minor, because I was be taking 2 courses. And so if you're interested in doing engineering, does not mean you can't do study abroad. Andrew hit on another issue, which is internships come along, but doing something for a little bit during the semester or over like a winter break are also opportunities that I'd encourage you to look into. But yeah, absolutely does not preclude you from doing it. In my case, COVID had one last kick for me, but you don't have to have that. So definitely don't like throw your hands up and go, well, I'm an engineer. So check out the website. It's a very good website.
All right, so I have a quick question for the panel, which is, can you talk about your favorite honors experience so far? So whether that's an honors class or an option that you did, but try and be specific in terms of what you did in the class, what the class was, and why you liked it so much.
Yes, I can start first. So I did a honors research seminar. I believe it was UGS 200H. It was in the Department of Radiology. It was like a biotech kind of research. And yeah, I really enjoyed this experience because going into it, I had no idea what it was. I've like participated in undergraduate research before, but the structure of the class is very different. It's very small. So you get to really like engage with the professor, and it's more personalized with the work that you're doing. So we ended up doing this research for about it was for the full year. So it was 2 semesters long, and we got to present at URAF, which was really cool. And yeah, I just think that it's a really good opportunity. If you're confused what you want to go into or like what lab you want to join, doing a research seminar just kind of gets your like feet in the water with the world of research, and getting to present at URAF is something that even if you are not like super passionate about what you're doing or you spent so much time on it, just being able to present and being able to be there and see everyone else doing what they're doing is really cool. So yeah, that was a really cool experience for me. My other one was honors option I did for my pharmacology class. So it was I researched, basically it was my class is on common drugs, so I just researched another drug and like wrote a pretty long paper about it. And at first I was like, wow, I don't know if I'll be able to do this, whatever, but learning more and more about it, just like writing it all out, formatting it, taking the time to do it. Now I look back on it and I'm like, that was so cool. So that was one of my favorite experiences.
Yeah, I can jump in on this question as well. I would say my first semester freshman year, I took animal biodiversity, which is a kind of basic 200 level class that's kind of just an introduction to wildlife and kind of sets you up for zoology majors to take, ecology and all these higher level courses. And I did an honors option for that class where our teachers compiled a list of graduate students in the integrated biology department at MSU and told us to reach out to them, ask them some questions, whatever, set up an interview, and then record those interviews, asking them questions about their journey as a graduate student, how they became interested in what they were doing, just kind of those sort of things, and then upload it to a generalized link for our class so that the rest of our class could watch it and also learn from the interviews. So I thought it was a really cool way for me to make connections within the iBio department. And I ended up interviewing somebody who worked with the lab I'm working with right now, and I got to kind of, you know, pick her brain about that and what she was doing beyond the lab work and how she traveled to different places in Africa and stuff like that. And so that was really, really cool. And I will say also this year I'm working on a Spanish honors option where I'm working on translating graduate students' work that's been written in Spanish to English, which will later be published in a compilation book, basically, of all of these short stories about Andean and Peruvian literatures, science fiction, which is really, really cool. So what I think what is the most, I guess, fulfilling or like rewarding about honors options is that as opposed to being an honors class, the honors options are projects that your professors can come up with whatever they want for you to do. And it can be translating stories into Spanish, or it can be doing an interview, or it can be writing a paper or whatever, doing a presentation, something like that. It's just a kind of a fun way to dive a little deeper into what your class is about.
Any others before we move on? All right. I have a question for Carol, being a first-year student and being an out-of-state student, which is, can you give some general impressions of your transition to MSU and how that's been going, and sort of finding your place at MSU and specifically as an honors student? Can you talk about that just generally and how that's been going so far?
I'll say my first impression has definitely been that it's really cold. I went home for the weekend and it was warm and I really enjoyed it. But I will say that fitting in at like MSU has been really rewarding because I feel like you have, thanks Sam, you have a bunch of like opportunities to fit in. Like we had a really big fair for involvement, and that was really cool because it was a chance to like walk around. It was this huge field of just all these different clubs and opportunities. Like you would turn around and be like, oh, I'm interested in that. And I think that was really helpful because it was really easy to find something to be involved in. And I think that was like the first or second week I was here. And then I also cheated a little and joined marching band, where you're kind of forced into socialization through the starting camp. And I'll say my like biggest thing has been I love my roommate. We met, she's an honors roommate because we're both honors students, but we met and we're matched randomly. And that's been really nice because I have a connection at school who we're both trying to like go down the same path. So it's really, really helpful to have her as an honors roommate. But I think the honors college has been really like impactful in finding my place because, like I said, they had that huge involvement fair, but right before that, they had an honors specific one, which is how I found H-Star and how I found a bunch of like different things that are very specific to honors students. I met a bunch of honors students, and I think that has helped a lot. And then definitely coming from out of state has been a bit of an adjustment, but I feel like there's also a lot of other out of state people I have met that has been really cool to meet. And I will say that all the Michigan people are very excited to meet me and show that me where they're from on their hand, which was the weirdest thing in the world when it first happened. Yeah. So I think I've ended up like fitting in a lot because of all the different opportunities to get involved. You just have to put yourself out there and you'll find it really easily.
All right, so again, we do have a few more minutes left, and I do not see any questions currently in Q&A. But if you have extra questions for us, please let us know. Let's make the most of our students' time here this evening. I want to ask a question for the rest of the panel briefly, and we'll come back to Carol. If you have advice, being a few years removed now from the college search process, we're talking to a group of high school seniors in October. Right. Since I'm thinking of where we are in place and time of the senior year, what advice would you give knowing what you know now a few years removed from it?
I would say I have two main pieces of advice. I would say first of all, do not be afraid to just try something new or try something that you're like, I don't know if I would like this, but it seems cool. I'm going to go for it. Do it. It rarely never works out in your, you know what I like, it always shows you something new. You meet somebody new, you try something new. If you don't like it, oh well, like it's just part of college. It's part of finding your place. And I think I regret a little bit for my first 2 years waiting too long and being like, well, it's not related to my major, so I don't know if I'm going to get involved with it. Like, for example, with Spartan Vision, I was kind of like, well, it's more like sports production. I don't know if I should be spending my time on that. Literally, my favorite thing to do on campus is help out with the sports production. So, and it's teaching me a lot in terms of like filmmaking and that aspect of production. So I would say just don't be afraid to try something new. If it sounds interesting, try it. MSU has so many great opportunities in so many different areas, and you have time and space to take advantage of all of those opportunities, which is really, really cool. The second thing I would say is make sure you, when you're deciding where to go to college, it is this big, scary process, but make sure you visit on campus and find out where feels like home. Because Michigan State, when I stepped foot on campus, I was like, I can envision myself here for the next 4 years. I can envision myself succeeding here. This feels like home, away from home. And it was like such a welcoming community. I knew right then that I was going to fit in and never have regretted my choice since. So it's, make sure you keep that in mind. And I would say MSU is just like a wonderful, wonderful community, and obviously would highly recommend it. Go green. But yeah.
Yeah, I can jump in a little bit too. Two pieces of advice that I would give to seniors at this point is probably one, learn some adulting things before you go to college because your parents won't always be there. So like make sure that you know how to do different car things because I'm not good at car things. But like if your car breaks down, that's on you. Or make sure that you know laundry, things like how to cook, things like that, little things. I mean, I guess in the dorms, you'll mostly have the dining hall. But yeah, anyhow. And then when you're exploring different colleges, I would really focus on choosing, first of all, yes, obviously the college where you feel you belong the most, but also looking at what opportunities the different universities can offer you. MSU has so many different research and study abroad opportunities. So yeah, I would just really do your research and make sure that you find the best fit for you.
Go ahead, Sam.
Oh, I was gonna jump. All right, I'm gonna jump in because you said fit. That's my whole spiel. I know Eli and Andrew have heard me do this spiel a lot. If you come to ADS, you'll probably hear me do this spiel again. But a good college is like a good sweater. It's all about fit. There's no such thing as just a good sweater. All sweaters are good. All universities are good. Wherever you go, you're gonna find people to make you happy, things to do that make you happy. But when you're looking, you're trying to find one that you think is going to fit well. And so absolutely, Allison. In my case, that fit was like the flexibility with the honors college, do like 3 minors and do all these different things I love and am excited about. And so wherever you choose, even if it's a certain sweater with maize and blue colors, like sure, if it fits you, that's fantastic. We just are here to help you understand the fit of MSU and hope that it is a good fit for you. So that is my sweater spiel. I was in your exact shoes 3 years ago now, and some person on an H-Star panel, I think, used that analogy, and it has stuck with me forever because it's so good and I love sweaters.
All right, go ahead, Ria.
Yeah, I mean, I can't follow that, but I guess I would just say, similar to what Kayla said, just take risks. Like, you sometimes will find yourself in a place where you feel like is not where you're meant to be, but it will introduce you to so many new people. And you'll learn to like just learn so many different things about them, grow to a different part of yourself. It can seem so daunting right now. With so many decisions with what college to pick. But I think the biggest thing is just have confidence in yourself and it may seem like so many choices that you have to make and big choices that will like impact your life forever. But I think just having the confidence that and trust that whatever decision you make will be the best for you, and like having confidence in that at the end of the day, even if you do pick a different school, go green. But yeah, I think just having confidence, taking risks, and trying new things.
All right, quickly, Eli, any advice to give?
I'll give just one quick piece of advice, kind of a brief composite of everyone else before me. Some of you may have like a narrow-minded approach. You have that one school you think is going to fit you the best, or is the best, and that's what you're shooting for. And you may not end up there, and that's okay. I think each of you are bright students. You will make the best out of whatever situation you're in. Take a deep breath. You may think this is, at 18, this is probably the biggest decision you've made up until this point, but it'll work out. Just kind of trust in the process. Take a deep breath. And enjoy your senior year.
All right. I have one piece of advice to lead us with as we conclude here tonight, which is, every family that I talk to, every student that I meet has a different decision-making calculus. There are a different set of factors and variables that come into play, things like the academic program, things like the campus, things like the location. There are so many things that are kind of at play here. And what I really want you to do after tonight is just get a sense of what the really like 3 or 4 most important ones are. And if you can isolate those, whether it's cost, whether it's location, whether it's the type of campus, big or small, whether it's honors college, once you get those variables, every school that you look at, you need to ask those questions, right? And make sure that you get a really good sense at what each place can do or will do as it relates to those ideas, right? So, you have time. None of us are rushing you to make a decision right now. You have all the way until May to figure this out. But again, if we can be of help to you, please connect to our team and to other admissions folks across the country as you're looking at schools. We're all here to help you. But thank you so much for spending a Thursday night with us. I want to thank all of our current students for taking the time out of their very busy schedules this time of year to share their MSU and Honors College experiences. But I really hope that this was helpful in both giving you an introduction to the Honors College, but also giving you a good sense of what you can do here at MSU and in the Honors College. So stay connected with us. I'm very hopeful that we'll read all of your applications here in the next couple weeks. But best of luck during senior year, and go green.